We brought you the story on the show yesterday about football star Herschel Walker running for the U.S. Senate in Georgia, and there are some who are not fans, including journalist Elie Mystal, who wrote an article titled "This in the Nation." Take a look. The Herschel Walker Senate campaign is an insult to black people. In the article, he calls Walker an animated caricature of a black person drawn by white conservatives. And here's what Walker had to say in response.
I represent the people of Georgia, and I'm not going to do what people tell me to do, and I'm not going to have you to bully me because you can't. But what I would love to do, for you to take the time to come down to Georgia, we sit down and break bread, because I'm about bringing people together, not separating people. What it seems like you are is to separate people because of color. That's not Herschel Walker.
So you hear right there Walker offering to have dinner with Mystal and talk about their differences, but Mystal wasn't having that idea at all. Take a look at this tweet put out about the matter saying, "All right, let's unpack this a second." Taking the man at his word, the offer to drive down to Texas to break bread with him fundamentally misunderstands the nature of the job he's applying for and my criticisms. I'm not looking for a senator, not a damn buddy. With me now to talk more about this article and its suggestions there and the candidacy of Herschel Walker in Georgia is one of my favorite guests, TPUSA's Stephen Davis, our MAGAHulk. There he is in Phoenix once again. Stephen, it's good to see you, my friend.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you heard what this journalist, Elie Mystal, is saying there about Herschel Walker's campaign. Some pretty harsh words there. And Herschel Walker's having some pretty decent success in terms of his campaign for Senate down in Georgia. What are your first thoughts as I read that information to you and our viewers?
Yeah, well, my first thoughts are, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. This is how they come at any type of black conservative whenever they try to do something positive for the community, to do something positive for the country. I mean, Nicole Hannah-Jones once said that there's a difference between being racially black and politically black. And since when it comes to people like Herschel Walker, other black conservatives, since we're not the right kind of black, or I guess since we're not the left black when it comes to politics, then it's open season on us. I mean, they did the same thing to Larry Elder when it came to him running for governor of California against the Governor Newsom at the time, I think a year ago. The LA Times, I do believe, came out and said that he is the black face of white supremacy. Okay, things like this it comes a dime a dozen. Same thing that happened to Clarence Thomas when he was nominated for the Supreme Court. I mean, all of a sudden these notions of sexual impropriety came out. Basically, he was a Brett Kavanaugh before Brett Kavanaugh, right? And he said this to then Joe Biden, Senator Joe Biden. He said this is a high-tech lynching against uppity blacks who deign to think for themselves. So this is a common tactic of the left when it comes to black conservatives, black Republicans who don't subscribe to leftist ideals. So I'm not surprised this is happening to Herschel Walker.
And, you know, obviously a lot of conservatives are not going to be fooled by this tactic there, by this journalist trying to, throw, water on the fire of a hot campaign there in Georgia. But obviously people have to do their homework and look beyond some of those misleading headlines by a journalist like this who's trying to, throw some negativity on this campaign for Herschel Walker there in Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a typical tactic of the left. And the American people, I think, are wise enough to this type of foolishness to say that just because a person is of the right and he's black, that he is doing something negative for the black community, is doing something negative for the country, especially when you look at the campaign that people like him are running, the things that they are espousing. They want to do something positive and good for the country. And to sit here and levy such attacks, these ad hominem attacks, these personal attacks, just goes to show how weak the left is when it comes to combating such people. All they have are personal attacks. That's all they do when it comes to black conservatives. Every black conservative I know, every black Republican I know goes and feels these type of attacks because of the color of our skin and because the color of our skin, quote unquote, doesn't match the ideology we're supposed to have as monolithic thinkers. So when it comes to people like him, I'm not surprised that he's going to be facing such backlash. It's par for the course at this point in time. But he's a strong individual. He's a great candidate. He has something great to offer the people of Georgia. And He needs to just let water off a duck's back at this point in time and just keep running the race that he knows he needs to run and do something beneficial for the people of Georgia.
And I'll just be honest. I mean, I've seen this in my own broadcast career for many, many years. Somebody comes at you with some negative information, and you respond and say, "Hey, okay, let's sit down. Let's talk about it." Sometimes they respond in kind. Obviously, this journalist did not respond. He was simply saying, "Let's sit down and talk about our differences. Let's talk about why you're saying this about me. Let's kind of clear the air." And this journalist clearly didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, civil debate is always the best course of action, but a lot of these leftists don't want to have civil debate because they will be debated into the ground, basically, especially when it comes to policy and the different intellectual ideas that Black conservatives have to better the country and to better serve our constituency. So when it comes to situations like this happens to me all the time. This happens to other Black conservatives all the time, Black Republicans, where we say, hey, let's just sit down and talk. But at the end of the day, they don't want to talk. These leftists don't want to talk because they understand that what we have is substantive. They don't have anything other than personal character attacks and things of this nature. So they know that they're going to look bad when it comes to any type of substantive debate. So they don't want to have it. They don't want to have it. But that's why I love what Herschel Walker did. He extended his hand of friendship and said, hey, if you have a problem, let's talk about it. They don't want to talk about it because they can't. They don't have any substantive debate. So this is beautiful. He did well. He did well with this when it comes to Herschel. He approached the situation.
And he's obviously gaining some ground and traction with President Donald Trump, who appeared with Herschel Walker on stage during a rally just a couple of weeks ago. Tell me about, what are you, I know you're watching a lot of these campaigns very closely. What are you seeing in terms of Herschel Walker's traction and his campaign there in Georgia?
Well, of course, Georgia is a red state, and people adhere, and they really resonate with a person like Herschel Walker. I mean, this guy is a Hall of Famer. This guy has had an astounding football career. He showed his leadership in so many ways. He has businesses and things of this nature. So he's an accomplished individual, a very accomplished individual. So the very fact that people like President Trump is standing for this guy, standing up with this guy, just goes to show the character of Herschel Walker and the things that he really does have to offer to the American people. And in this day and age where people are so focused on race and color, you would think that this guy would be propped up. But like I said, when it comes to the left, it's always a different story. He's a wrong kind of Black, and he will be demonized for it. But I think the rest of the American people, the centrists and us on the right, will be able to resonate with him.
All right. Well, we'll see how the voters perceive these comments by that journalist there with this regard to the situation there. TPUSA's MAGAHulk, my friend Stephen Davis. Great to see you and have your perspective as always, sir.
Thank you once again for having me. Good talking to you.